So I'm going to have a brief look at the background of the RDS and their previous experience in hosting and facilitating art and industry exhibitions. Next, I will look at their plans and preparations for this exhibition, in particular their promotion of art, looking at the minutes from their School of Design and their promotion of industry before, during and after the exhibition. And finally, I will look at what was happening around the close of the exhibition. And equally important to the construction of the building was the deconstruction and the use of the building on the grounds of the RDS after the exhibition was over. So, established in 1731 as the Dublin Society, the RDS had promoted art and industry through awards, mentoring and financial support. As early as 1741, they had awarded their first premium for drawing to Susanna Drury for her picture of the Giant's Causeway, and they continued to support the arts with the establishment of their drawing schools. In 1813, the Royal Irish Institution for the Promotion of the Fine Arts in Ireland was founded by 3 members of the Dublin Society's Fine Arts Committee, Henry Charles Sir, the Reverend John Pomeroy and John Boyd. And from 1814 until 1818, they organised Old Masters Loan exhibitions in the Dublin Society Gallery at Hawkins Street. In 1834, the RDS held their first annual exhibition of Irish manufactures, productions and inventions with over 260 exhibitors. And by 1847, this exhibition was held on a triennial basis. In early 1850 at the RDS, there was also an exhibition of paintings and drawings by amateur artists held in aid of the Ladies' Relief Association for Clothing the Poor, with over 600 paintings and sketches on display for this worthwhile cause. And when this exhibition was open, they held their triennial exhibition, where they actively encouraged international contributions. So it was just the year before the Crystal Palace one. So over 300,000 visitors attended this exhibition in 1850, with receipts of over £20,000. And indeed, some would argue that this was the prototype for the 1851 Crystal Palace exhibition, which I said was held the following year. In 1852, a national exhibition was held in Cork, and here on screen we can see a sketch of the construction of the exhibition building from the Illustrated London News. The detail in the sketch is fantastic, and the information in their reports was equally detailed. And we even know the name of the train driver that brought the delegation from Dublin for the inauguration ceremony. And his name was George Milne, in case anybody's interested. The architect for the Cork exhibition building was John Benson, and he had converted the Corn Exchange for this event. At the opening ceremony, the RDS was represented by Dr. Harrison and E.L. Foote. And with all this experience of organising and hosting exhibitions of art and of industry, the RDS was well placed to organise the Great Industrial Exhibition when the opportunity of extensive finance was offered by one of their members, William Dargan, in June 1852. The Committee of Manufacturers Minute Book records just a few weeks beforehand, on the 26th of May 1852, that they were concerned that their triennial exhibition might not go ahead, and that, and I quote, "it would be a most serious, perhaps even a fatal mistake to omit the holding of the exhibition of manufacturers in the triennial year 1853, unquote. And lack of finance was probably the most likely unspoken reason. And their fears were soon allayed, as on the 24th of June 1852, in a letter to the RDS, William Dargan proposed to finance the exhibition with some special conditions attached. He wished, and I quote, "to place the sum of £20,000 in the hands of a special executive committee, that the special executive committee be nominated by 3 gentlemen on the part of Mr. Dargan and 3 gentlemen to be selected by the Council of the Royal Dublin Society from that body, and that a suitable building shall be erected on the lawn of the Royal Dublin Society." Unquote. And this proposal was met with a very enthusiastic response, and almost immediately plans were in place with committees appointed and preparations were soon underway. On the 29th of June 1852, at a special meeting convened by the Council of the RDS, Dargan nominated the following to act upon his behalf: Sir Edward McDonagh, George Rowe and the Honourable George Hancock. 3 members of the Council were also appointed to act on behalf of the Society. L.E. Foote, who had gone to the previous one in Cork, as Honourable Secretary, Walter Sweetman, Chairman of the Committee of Manufacturers, and Charles G. Fairfield, Chairman of the Committee of Fine Arts. But by the time the exhibition had opened, these committees had expanded, and in some cases the members had changed to different areas. Fairfield was appointed Deputy Chairman of the exhibition, and Lord Talbot de Malahide was appointed Chairman of the Fine Arts Committee. Lord Talbot was also a member of the Agricultural Committee, and as a noted antiquarian, he was involved with the Royal Irish Academy and had proposed that a collection of Irish antiquities should be placed in the exhibition. And there's a letter from him in one of the display cabinets here at the Academy. The following month, a competition was announced for architects to submit designs before the 31st of July 1852 for the exhibition building. And on the 12th of August, John Benson of Collooney, County Sligo, was announced as the winner, and soon work began on the site. Building progressed at a rapid pace, and the newspapers kept the public informed of the construction of the building. By the 12th of May 1853, less than a year after Dargan's proposal, the building was nearly finished, but it was ready for the opening day of the exhibition. And here is the architect, Sir John Benson, and as you can see in his hands, he's actually holding a drawing of the exhibition building. And this sketch is from the Exhibition Expositor and Advertiser, which was a publication produced solely for the exhibition and printed within the building. It ran for 25 weeks and produced an 8-page publication with information and sketches on the exhibits, gossips and ramblings of the visitors, and 2 pages devoted to advertisements. Art and design formed an important element of the exhibition, as the organisers were keen to highlight the fact that the ability to draw and design was an important skill for artisans to enable them to produce high-quality goods. The pupils at the RDS School of Design were also included in the preparations of the exhibition, as their records show how a number of the leading manufacturers of Dublin City offered premiums for their work. On the 13th of December 1852, George Fairfield announced that, and I quote, Messrs Atkinson and Company have offered £4 4 shillings for 3 designs adapted for poplin, and have selected the patterns supplied by James Brennan, Miss Agnes Spear and John Holmes. The image shows some cabinet designs by another pupil of the School of Design, a Miss Elizabeth S. White, and these are produced by another Dublin manufacturer and retailer, Messrs Fry's. And this image is actually from the Exhibition of Art Industry in Dublin, which was an illustrated 64-page catalogue published in connection with one of the leading publications of the day on art history, the Art Journal. The catalogue contained detailed images of the industrial art in display and a short accompanying description and history. And the staff from the School of Design were also involved in the preparations for the exhibition, as it was recorded on the 4th of April 1853, resolved that the headmaster have leave of absence for 2 days to visit, at the request of the Committee of Fine Arts for the Great Exhibitions, the ruins of Knockmoy Abbey, to obtain tracings of the frescoes. Another entry seen here on screen was later in April, and they were not so willing to release staff from the school for travelling around the country. A letter dated the 16th of April 1853 from John Latang reads, and I quote, Gentlemen, the Fine Art Committee of the Dublin Exhibition were anxious to have the opinion of Mr McManus respecting some statues and paintings in the north of Ireland, and requested him to accompany me to County Derry and County Fermanagh for that purpose on Monday last. Mr McManus objected to go until he had the sanction of the Fine Arts Committee of the Dublin Society, unquote. He did go, and follow-up entries in the minutes reveal that the Fine Arts Committee were not too happy with his absence. So C.P. Roney and John C. Dean had worked tirelessly in securing loans from private and public collections throughout Britain and mainland Europe. Boatloads of paintings, porcelain and other precious artefacts arrived from Queen Victoria, Prince Albert, King Leopold of Belgium and the King of Prussia. And here we can see C.P. Roney in Paris with the Prince President at a meeting held on the 24th of October 1852. He had requested loans of items from the manufacturers at Sèvres and Beauvais, and to allow them to travel to Ireland and back from France to Ireland and back again free of duty. And he also travelled to Belgium, where he was extremely successful in obtaining a large collection of paintings, which we're going to hear about later today. The small details were also important and discussed at the Society's meetings. There were debates over whether the RDS members should be admitted for free, what entrance they could use, if the School of Design was open to visitors, and what fire precautions were in place. So as you can see by the poster on screen, that the RDS members had their own exclusive entrance. They had to produce their tickets to the policeman on duty and to sign in with their names and the number on the tickets. And here are some of the admission tickets with signatures and numbers. The ladies' season's tickets cost £1 1 shilling, and gents' season tickets were £2 2 shillings. And I read also that 400 tickets were bought by Todd and Company for their employees. And here we can see the prices advertised and also information about dangerous walking sticks and parasols. John C. Dean advised that visitors cannot be permitted to bring into the building any stick, umbrella or parasol, but an office is provided for their reception at the doors where on and after Wednesday next, the 20th of July, a charge of 1 penny will be made on each article deposited. Just taking a step back for a moment to have a look at the floor plan, and we can see that the society building in the middle is surrounded by the exhibits. So you have the workhouses and the prison exhibits facing onto Clare Street, and then the main exhibition onto Merrion Square. You have the Indian Court and the antiquities and the machinery as well. So back now to the preparations. In the Committee of Manufacturers Minute Book, we can see quite clearly early on that there were plans in place for exhibiting specimens of Irish marbles and other raw materials. On the 10th of December 1852, it was recorded that it would be referred to the Committee of Manufacturers to inquire and report whether the funds at their disposal will admit of exhibiting at the exhibition of 1853 specimens of marbles, ores and clays of Ireland. On the 10th of December 1852, a query from the Council to the Committee about allocating £100 towards the procurement of a suitable collection of marbles of Ireland to be exhibited at the exhibition. And the form over to your right, is very faint, it's a light blue one. That was actually sent out around the country to inquire about local quarries and what prices they would charge for marble, polished and unpolished. So we see other industries at the exhibition where the use of Irish raw materials was encouraged by the RDS. Irishman William H. Kerr of the Royal Porcelain Works, Worcester, displayed statues and vases produced by a number of former students from the RDS School of Design, who were subsequently in his employment. At his stand, the RDS provided Kerr with Irish clays for demonstrations of pottery making. Within a few years, Kerr was also involved with the establishment of Belique Potteries, which is well known still today. Next to Kerr's stand was Charles Glennie with a frame at work making Balbriggan cotton hosiery. The RDS had encouraged the production of stockings at Balbriggan as early as 1780, when they provided grants to Baron Hamilton to establish a factory there. And the success of this industry was evident in the 1853 exhibition, as Balbriggan stockings could be seen on numerous stands, including the manufacturers of Appleyard, Glennie, Smith and Hatton, Wilson and Armstrong, and Queen Victoria was presented with some of their products at the exhibition as well. The RDS also organised lectures, and they appointed one of their members, a Dr. Barker, to deliver a short series on the manufacture of porcelain, and these were provided for free. Other lectures were held on sugar beet production. Sugar beet production had recently started in Ireland, and the RDS was keen to encourage this industry. In their minutes of the 1st of June 1853, we see, and I quote, "A reference from the Society recommended the Committee to institute short courses of lectures on those branches of manufactures of interest to Ireland. That an application be made to Mr. Sullivan and Dr. Barker to have 2 courses of lectures, one on sugar beet, the other on ceramic manufactures." And this image on screen is at the sugar beet factory out Mount Mellick, owned by William Hirsch. By July of 1853, the RDS were sending out these forms to the exhibitors with a letter asking them to donate any products unsold at the close of the exhibition, and these were to be placed in the Museum of Irish Industries. Letters with offers of donations arrived from exhibitors of raw materials, manufacturers and machinery. Fry's Chocolate of Bristol, Sussex Truck Baskets and Messrs. Brow Agents for Zolverin were amongst a large number of generous donors. And this one on screen was from William Hirsch with a donation of specimens illustrating the beetroot sugar manufacture. So the RDS were then getting ready for the royal visit in August, going into September. It was a 4-day visit, and there were letters going back and forward with addresses of what the RDS were going to present to Queen Victoria, and their replies as well. So it was a busy time there. And that's from Irish artist Michelangelo Hayes. I love the detail right down to the fruit cellar in the foreground there. So I'm going to skip now to the close of the exhibition. The ceremonies at the close were nearly as elaborate as the opening, and here we see C.P. Ronnie receiving his knighthood in recognition for all his hard work, which contributed to the success of the exhibition. However, within 24 hours of the exhibition closing, a newly formed body, the Irish Institution, held their first meeting on the 1st of November 1853, with definite plans for the establishment of a national gallery. A committee was formed with members from the exhibition committee lending their expertise, including RDS members Lord Talbot de Malahide and Walter Sweetman. They planned loan exhibitions to raise funds and approached the owners of old masters who had loaned their paintings to the recently closed exhibition to support their own exhibition, which was held at the end of 1853 going into 1854. So, an unpublished letter in the RDS archives dated the 7th of December 1853, on headed notepaper from the Irish Institution, reveals how the newly formed institution was confident of a positive response from the RDS as they signalled their request for a proposed site. The letter, signed by George Mulvaney, requested a meeting with the Council of the RDS with respect to the possibility of a portion of Leinster Lawn being made available as a site for the proposed National Gallery. And he suggested a venue and a time to meet. So the role of the RDS in the success of the Great Exhibition now extended to its involvement with the exhibition's greatest legacy, as a section of Leinster Lawn was soon acquired for the National Gallery of Ireland. However, the exhibition building was not immediately removed, and in fact Dargan wanted it left up until the following March, which the RDS initially permitted. He proposed that the public could pay in to visit the building and the funds could be used for the embellishment of the lawn. However, going through the records, we see a change of attitude towards these proposals, and by the end of January 1854, they wanted to vary their agreement with him, only to open the building as they saw fit, to prohibit refreshments in the building and other matters. By the beginning of February, they asked him to remove the northern half of the building. And by January 1855, it was recorded that, and I quote, "The Council very much regret the continued occupation of the premises with the debris of the late exhibition building, notwithstanding their repeated applications for their removal, as it is feared that unless the ground be immediately cleared and levelled, it will not be practical to provide the required accommodation for the next spring cattle show." So, in conclusion, I hope that what I have demonstrated today is how the RDS was well placed to organise the exhibition and the role they played in its success. They provided their extensive grounds and their expertise. The Committee of Manufacture sourced marbles and other raw materials for the exhibition. The School of Design were centrally involved with the preparations, as their headmaster advised on paintings and statues in the north of Ireland, and their students produced designs for poplins and cabinets, which were then displayed at the exhibition. The RDS were very innovative with their lectures on ceramics and sugar beet production, which demonstrated in a practical way how they encouraged industry in Ireland. They were extremely organised and opportunistic as well, with the form sent to the exhibitors, soliciting donations for the Museum of Irish Industry. And the legacy of the exhibition lives on through the establishment of the National Gallery of Ireland. And once again, we can see the RDS's role in this, as they permitted the construction of the building on their grounds. Post-exhibition, we can see how they were initially supportive of Dargan's request to leave the exhibition building on their grounds for a number of months. But by January 1855, their patience had worn thin as they requested the removal of the debris of the late exhibition building. So I would just like to thank the Royal Irish Academy Historical Studies Committee for inviting me to present today, to the RDS Library and Archives for facilitating this research, and to the others here on screen for funding my PhD, which has informed, it's just time myself, so which has informed this research and presentation. And finally, I'd like to thank you, my audience, for your kind attention today.